The energy of 2021 is ushering in the new age of Aquarius, and it feels very accelerated and very electric. This energy is so powerful and it's creating such a strong momentum forward that it feels sometimes like we're getting hit by a massive storm with gale force winds. With this intensity of energy, there are a few spiritual skills that are really going to come in handy the whole year. If you can master these spiritual skills, you'll be able to use this incredibly powerful energy in 2021 to propel you through the whole year like never before. In this video, you're going to learn the top 5 spiritual skills that are needed to make it through 2021 on top of your game. Coming up. Hello, beautiful soul. This is Christina Lopes, the Heart Alchemist, here to help you open your heart, heal your past, and live with purpose. If you're new to my videos, click on that subscribe button and also on the bell so you get notified as soon as I publish new content. And don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I share weekly tips and advice that you won't find here on YouTube. Okay, let's get into the 5 spiritual skills that are needed in 2021. The first one is called envisioning, all right? So this one is really important, and what I'm talking about when it comes to envisioning is we have to be able to hold the vision of the future that we want for ourselves and for the planet, all right? And you have to really hold that vision. This is a very forward-looking vision. It's not a backward-looking vision. It's a very forward-looking vision. And you have to hold that vision sometimes with a little bit of stubbornness, because what's happening is the energy right now, especially in the month of February, there's a lot going on in the month of February astrologically. So this month that I'm shooting this video and that it's coming out on YouTube in the month of February, this is the most intense month energetically of the whole year of 2021, and it's setting the stage for the whole year. And so this envisioning skill is not just something that you're going to need to do in February. It's something that you're going to need to hold throughout the year, because what's happening is with this intensity of energy, there's a big split in timelines, okay? And I'm sure that you can see this out in the real world. You can see this split in timelines. There are a lot of people that are creating a new world, and then there are a lot of people that are staying in chaotic drama, problems, chaos, violence, and these two timelines are splitting. They are becoming more and more and more split, which means that we have to choose very wisely which timeline we want to go down. And so that's where the envisioning comes in, for you to be able to hold the vision of where you want your life to go, where you see the planet going, making sure that that vision is expansive, that it's filled with love, that it's filled with joy, that it's filled with a lot of peace, and not constricting, all right? That's the type of vision that people are holding when they're staying stuck to that timeline that is lower vibration, okay? So since you're watching these videos, you're choosing a timeline that's going to be higher vibration, and so that means that it's going to be a timeline and a vision that's expansive, that includes everyone, that where there's a lot of love, a lot of peace, and a lot of joy, okay? And so to be able to hold this, to be able to envision this way, sometimes it takes a little bit of stubbornness, especially in these energies when there's so much going on, especially if it's happening in your life. So if there's some kind of drama going on in your life, if there's some kind of chaos going on in your life, or even just in the outside world, you have to be able to hold that vision, never let go of that vision of where you're seeing your life go, the potential that you have moving forward with your life, training your mind to be very forward-looking, not spending too much time ruminating on the past. This is not the time for that. This is a very accelerated energy, so you want to make sure you're riding it. And so the skill of envisioning, of holding a vision for a better world, for a more peaceful world, and for a more joyful life for myself also. So I'm envisioning for myself, but I'm also envisioning for the world. I have to hold that. And the word stubborn keeps kind of falling on my head as I'm shooting this right now. So I'm going to keep repeating it because it's really coming through very strongly. It does require a little bit of stubbornness to hold this vision when the outside world seems seems like it's going a little bit, tilted the wrong way. There's a lot of chaos. There's, protests and things happening, vaccine rollouts, vaccine, delays. There's a lot of stuff going on in the outside world, political turmoil. So all of these things that are going on outside can kind of shake you. And that's why the word stubbornness is coming through. Because the more you're a little bit stubborn in that sense means that you will not let go of the envisioning process of the way that you see your life unfolding and the energy of the planet unfolding, okay? So again, be a little bit stubborn in holding that vision no matter what's happening in the outside world. This is a really important skill for 2021 because the energy is going to continue to be accelerated, so we have to learn how to hold that vision regardless of what we're seeing in our immediate environment. To help you understand the importance of being very forward thinking and envisioning the future right in this month and why it's crucial in this month that I'm shooting this video in the month of February, I shot a whole video on the astrology of February, what's going on and why this astrologically is the most intense month of the year. I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description box below so you can watch after this one. Spiritual skill number 2 is called energy sovereignty. Okay, so what this means is that I have to get very used to becoming very independent and autonomous and sovereign in my own energy. Okay, and here's what this means. We're usually trained all over the world. We've been trained and programmed to feel and behave in our lives in a way that's highly affected by the outside world. Okay, so I'll give you an example. We're trained to believe that if something bad happens in the outside world, we're supposed to feel bad. And if something great is happening on the outside world, then we're supposed to feel great. So we're very, very programmed to let the outside world dictate how we're supposed to feel. And here's a concrete example of how this works. Let's say you wake up in the morning one morning and you're having a great morning. You just wake up in a wonderful mood. You have a nice morning coffee. Maybe you do a little bit of meditation and you're just feeling great. And then you go and you shower, you get ready to go to work. And you walk out the door to go to work, and your nasty neighbor comes over into your driveway and just starts having an argument, a horrible argument with you right in the morning. You were having such a good morning, and then your neighbor that's angry and he's belligerent, he just comes in and he has an argument with you, and then the rest of your day is crappy. Okay? This may seem like a normal response, but it's not a normal response. This is the way that we've been trained. We have been trained to let the outside world dictate how we're supposed to feel. But there's an alternative to that. And the alternative is, using this scenario, I could walk out the door and my belligerent neighbor can come over and start a fight with me, and that interaction doesn't have to affect my energy at all. It only affects my energy if I allow it to, okay? And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to energy sovereignty. Energy sovereignty is so crucial right now. We have to learn how to self-generate our internal emotions and our internal state. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again because it's so important. We have to learn how to self-generate our internal state. Meaning that my internal state, the way that I feel, the way that I'm behaving in the world, is going to be generated by myself and not by the world around me. This is really crucial right now, and it's because the energy is so chaotic, it's so accelerated, and there's so much going on in the outside world. A lot of things that are uncomfortable, whether it's, we're still going through, as the shooting of this video, still going through a lot of problems with the COVID pandemic, with, vaccine rollouts, with political instability and all these things going on in the world and in our own personal lives. This energy can also be messing with our own personal lives in the sense that things could be changing, people are losing their jobs. There's a lot of external changes. And so this ability to be in your own energy sovereignty is very important right now because of all the chaos that's happening outside. Because of all that chaos, I don't want that chaos to affect my internal environment. And so that's where the energy sovereignty comes in, is for you to realize that you do not need to allow your external environment to influence your vibration. You don't have to. Even though we've always been trained to believe that the outside world can can change our internal environment. It can if we allow it, but it doesn't have to. And so when it comes to energy sovereignty, we're learning to self-generate our emotional and our internal states the way that we want it to be, and we hold it throughout the day. Okay, we hold it no matter what. No matter if the belligerent, neighbor comes over and tries to mess with our energy, no matter what, we hold our energy sovereignty. We are sovereign beings, and it's time for us, especially as these energies are accelerating more and more and more, we're stepping into our power more, and as we do, we start to decide to self-generate our own internal states without letting the outside world affect us so much, okay? So this is a very important skill also that's going to be needed, not just in the month of February where I'm shooting this video, but throughout the whole year. There are two words here that I want to focus on before I move on to the next spiritual skill. One of them I already talked about, which is self-generation. Okay, so I'm learning how to self-generate the internal state that I want to be in, regardless of what's going on in the outside. Okay, so that's one term, self-generating. All right. The other term that I want to leave you with is self-sustaining. Okay, so two important terms, self-generating and self-sustaining, meaning that not only am I learning how to generate the emotions that I want to have, the internal state that I want to have, regardless of what's going on in the outside. So I'm not going to let my angry neighbor affect me. I'm not going to let my spouse who's in a really bad mood affect me. I'm not going to let my coworker who's, depressed and is pulling me down. I'm not going to let that affect my energy. So that's the self-generating part. The self-sustaining part is my ability to hold that vibration throughout the hours of the days and the weeks and the months, okay? So these are two separate issues, but they're intertwined. I self-generate the emotional state that I want to be in, and I sustain that state. I have that strength to sustain that state, again, no matter what's going on, okay? So remember these two terms, self-generating and self-sustaining. This is crucial right now when it comes to energy sovereignty. So hold that power, hold that energy sovereignty, very important skill. The third spiritual skill necessary for 2021 is energy clearing. Okay, now this one is important because what's happening in these times of great change, there's a lot of accelerating energy. It's really what's happening is there's an ascension process occurring all over the world. And that means that the vibration of the planet, along with our vibration, is going up more and more and more towards a higher frequency. When that happens, when there are ascension periods, what happens is there's a play between light and dark, okay? When that happens, when the light pulls, when everything is being pulled toward the light, there can be more shadow interference in this plane here, in this plane of existence, all right? And so when there's more shadow interference, which there is right now, the energy clearing comes in handy because you're going to want to keep yourself nice and pure and cleansed of any interference from the shadow realms, all right? Now, let me leave a side note before you start freaking out. Let me leave a side note, ding, ding here, okay? Let me leave a side note, and the side note is there is nothing for you to be afraid of. There is nothing for you to freak out about when I'm talking about the shadow realms, all right? So whenever I talk about shadow interference or shadow realms or the dark, I'm not doing that to cause any fear. If you're watching my videos regularly, you're probably totally beyond fear, but this is the first video you've ever watched of mine. When it comes to shadow realms or to darkness, there's nothing to be afraid of. You are a sovereign spiritual being. You are so powerful. There is nothing more powerful than you. I use this mantra a lot in my videos. There's no energy out there more powerful than you. Let me repeat that mantra again. There's no energy out there more powerful than you, okay? So when I'm talking about shadow interference, I am merely talking about the way that the universe, there's a play in the universe. There's a play between light and dark. That's just the balance of things, okay? When the consciousness pulls up, when our consciousness pulls up toward the light, when there's an increase in activity in the light and pulling more towards higher vibration, the shadow realms will come in and interfere a little bit because the shadow realms don't want us to pull into light, right? The shadow realms, they thrive in lower consciousness, okay? Shadow realms thrive when people are unconscious, when they don't know what the heck is going on, because that's where a lot of shadowy things happen, like violence and and chaos and all of that, all right? So that's just the natural thing. The shadow comes in and tries to interfere, and especially during processes of ascension, of big ascension, and that's what we're in right now. Entering this age of Aquarius, we are being so bombarded with light. We really are evolving at just such a rapid speed, and so it's normal for the shadow to come in and try to interfere, try to mess with you a little bit, all right? That's where the energy clearing comes in handy. And it could be something as simple as you just doing a simple energy clearing in the morning or at night. I like to work with energy clearings a lot at night, so don't forget to do an energy clearing at night. But I like to do, especially in intense phases of ascension, I like to do energy clearing in the morning also. So I'll do it twice a day, in the morning and at night. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It doesn't have to be any kind of elaborate ceremony. It could be something very simple. But the point is, you just want to clear your energy of any possible shadow interference, all right? The shadow realms operate through tinkering. They tinker with your energy system, all right? They cannot violate free will, so they come in and they tinker a little bit, all right? And you can just clear. You can clear it very easily, no drama necessary, no fear necessary, and you just keep your energy clear of any interference. Now, there are a lot of ways to do energy clearing. It could be very simple or it could be more elaborate if you want to. If you want to go deeper, if you need more assistance on how to clear negative energy, I shot a whole video on that, and I'll leave links in the description box below so you can watch it after this one if you want to go deeper and get some tips on how to actually do energy clearing the way that I do it. But regardless of what technique you use for your energy clearing, I want to leave you with an important mantra that I use every day when I'm doing energy clearing, okay? You could repeat this mantra many times as you're doing the clearing. You could repeat this mantra just to reinforce the clearing, all right? So here's the mantra that I want to leave for you. The mantra is simply, I revoke permission for shadow interference in my energy field. Okay? And you just repeat this over and over. I revoke permission for any shadow interference in my energy field, all right? Repeat it at least 3 times, but you could repeat it as many times as you want as you're doing the clearing. This is a wonderful mantra that adds the energy of strong intention, whatever you intend, because you're a really powerful spiritual being, whatever you intend, and so it is, okay? So use this mantra as a way to help in your energy clearing, and you're not going to have any trouble with shadow interference. The 4th spiritual skill that I want to talk about is steadiness. Okay, so here what I'm talking about is you want to move through life in a very steady, grounded way with this energy, okay? And the reason that steadiness is important is because the energy of 2021, especially if you're watching this video in the month of February when it's released, this energy is very unstable right now. And it's not unstable in a negative way. I don't mean to say that it's unstable in a negative way. It's unstable just because it's so accelerated. There are so many things happening on a spiritual level and also in the 3D world, okay? And so the more that's going on, the more that's happening, the more electric. I could feel the energy. It feels very electric, very pulsating. Those are a couple of other good words for the energy that's going around right now. The more unstable and the more pulsating, the more electric the energy is, the more we need to be steady and grounded and moving forward with a lot of purpose. That's another word. That's another word that's dropping on my head right now. Purpose. Move forward with purpose, okay? And let me give you a practical example of what steadiness looks like and what being grounded and how important it is to be grounded when the world around is a little bit more unsteady, okay? So here's an example. Let's say, imagine that you are stuck on a boat in a storm in the middle of the ocean. It's a horrible storm. You're stuck on a boat. And let's say the captain comes out in the middle of this storm. The waves are really high. It's just a mess. You're in a really bad storm. And the captain comes out and says very calmly, in a very steady way, just says everything's going to be fine. We're going to put on our life jackets just in case we need them. And this is what we're going to do in case the boat sinks. And so he's explaining how things are going to happen, what's going to happen after, and the instructions on what you're going to do. But you see, notice the captain, very calm, very steady, telling you exactly what's going to happen, okay, and the instructions that you need to go through, all right? So that's scenario A, All right, so very grounded energy, very steady energy. Now, let's give you a scenario B. Let's say you're stuck out in the ocean in a massive storm and it's just horrible waves, and the captain comes out and literally says, "Oh my God, we're all gonna die." Okay, now if the captain comes out and screams, "We're all gonna die," how does that make you feel? You see the difference between these two energies? The scenario B, the captain is freaking out. Scenario A, the captain is steady. You can see the difference in these two energies. Captain B is probably going the whole boat is going to fall apart. Everybody's going to die because the captain's energy is not steady. In scenario B, the captain's energy is steady, and so that means that they get through that storm with a lot of peace, with a clear path forward, and with what to do. Okay, so this is a couple of examples to show you just how important energetic steadiness is right now. Think of the world around you as a storm, and you're just going to keep walking in a nice and steady and grounded way, moving forward very purposefully, one step at a time. It doesn't have to be very fast. It could be nice and slow and steady, okay? But it's steady. You're moving forward one step at a time with very, very grounded energy so that you don't let the unsteadiness of the world around you affect you and wobble you. So here are some other synonyms with this energy steadiness that I want to leave you with, okay? So when you're steady energetically, it means you're not panicking, you're not freaking out, all right? You are calm, you're centered, and you're moving forward with purpose, okay? And you see, this is a really important skill to have right now. Another skill that has to do with this steadiness, but I want to leave this here as another example of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about energy steadiness, is flexibility, okay? And flexibility means that although I'm walking in a steady way, one foot in front of the other, I'm not panicking, I'm not freaking out, I'm not unstable, I'm very steady. But although I'm walking in a steady way, I'm going to remain flexible to where life takes me. Okay, flexibility is really important, and it's also a part of this steadiness. I'm going to be steady but flexible at the same time. So if life sends me this way, I'm going to go steadily in this way. If life sends me that way, I'm going to be flexible and I'm going to go steadily in that way, all right? And the metaphor that I love using for flexibility is the Chinese bamboo. Okay, so if you've ever seen Chinese bamboo, it's a tenacious bamboo, because what it does is the Chinese bamboo has a life cycle of around 5 years where you don't see anything happening, but then as soon as the bamboo shoots up, after those 5 years, it's been developing its roots, and then it shoots up. As soon as Chinese bamboo starts to shoot up, it's so strong, so unbelievably strong, but it's incredibly flexible. So if you've ever seen strong winds hitting bamboo, the bamboo will bend, but then it'll come right back up. Okay, so that's the metaphor that I love for this type of flexibility, is the flexibility of bamboo. It bends with the wind, but it doesn't break. It comes right back up, all right? And see how that's very different from a more rigid tree, where if a storm or wind comes, the tree just starts to break apart, the branches fall, the whole tree may fall over, and it's because the trunk of that tree isn't flexible. With bamboo, it's so flexible that no matter how strong the wind, it just keeps moving and bowing back and forth, but eventually it comes back up, all right? So cultivate this flexibility. You're going to move in a steady way, but not steady in the sense that you're stubborn and you're just going to go that way because that's where you think you should go. You're steady no matter where life sends you, okay? So I wanted to leave you with this extra added feature of this energy steadiness, is to have that flexibility. Yes, go in a steady way forward, but look at where life is taking you and follow that direction. And here's a pro tip, ding ding, pro tip that I want to leave you with when it comes to flexibility, and that is to trust. The more that you trust life, the more that you trust the universe, the more flexible you'll allow yourself to be also. The more you'll allow yourself to bend at the will of life, all right? So just begin to trust the universe more. Trust creator energy. Trust the source of all things. Trust that life knows where to take you. The more that you trust, the more that you trust that you live in a benevolent universe and that everything is always happening for your highest good, the more flexible you'll become also, okay? So I wanted to leave that pro tip here. Trust that life knows where it's taking you. Trust that your soul knows where it's taking you, that your guides know where they're taking you. Trust, trust, trust. It's really going to come in handy, and it's going to help you when it comes to steadiness and flexibility. All right, beautiful soul, now over to you. Let me know in the comments below which spiritual skill are you going to work on first. I want to hear all about it in the comments below. Click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel, or head over to my website and download my popular guided meditations. And don't forget these videos that I talked about in this one. That'll be great for you to continue your viewing. All right, beautiful soul, I love you. I'm out.